And of course, it's been a long time. Then a couple of people have reached out to me, and a couple of people have spoken to me via my emails and trying to ask me questions about, hey, what direction am I expecting that you should go? So I said it will be very important that I show you some things and be able to discuss with you some valuable, to give you some valuable insight, right? Talking about EURUSD, talking about DXY as well. I'll be much more positioned to talk about DXY, and I'll be talking about every other one, the EURUSD and the GBPUSD, right? Yeah. So I mean, couple. I've said this a couple of times, and I will have to reiterate again because um, I believe that they say that um, repetition is king, and I know that repetition actually bet convictions. It brings about clarity on something. It, when you think about a thing again and again, when you look at a thing again and again, again and again, it's when you see those that very thing you're thinking about, happen in the real world or in real time, it's in a way it doesn't come to you as a surprise again. And that is the most important place that a trader is meant to find himself, where you are not necessarily moved by emotions, by the 5 minute time frame moves. Of course, you are going to be taking trading decisions on that. I mean, lower time frame. But when those moves are not surprising anymore to you, you are no longer, caught off guard because there is just a massive move on the lower time frame. Also, you are able to see the long term vision because you've seen it, you know, happen over and over and over and over again. You want to become such trader that really understood, and I mean that really understands the the very dynamics, the tones, the downs, the ups, and everything about, such that when it happens, it's no longer surprising and it's no longer new. Repetition, right? It becomes boring, but it's necessary. In fact, it is most important phase whereby when you once you get there as a trader, every other thing becomes easy. When you can obviously close your eyes when you see a price and you can imagine in your heart where the price is possibly going to go to, and when you get there what is possibly going to happen and what's going to be the outcome. That is exactly where you want to be as a trader. It's really not first about the money, because if you know the price is going to go up, comes down, and from there goes up, then the money follows that idea, right? So that is where you as a trader wants to get to, that you can actually perceive the intended direction, the intended direction, like I said, the probable direction that price could go to, the probable reason, candle formation, price formation that could lead to uh, price acting, either moving upward or downward. That's the kind of trader that you want to be. I'm sorry, I'm boring you with a whole lot of conversation, a lot of talks, and you just permit me this day. All right. On the XY, I remember that we talked about it in our group here channel. I mentioned right before, I think was April. Was that the first time I talked about it? Let me see. Right, that was March 5th. Um, Let me see. Was there anything said about that? Alright, that was the early part of last 2 months. And I mentioned here, and I talked about the fact that because we were talking about Aussie dollar at the time. So we talked about the fact that there's a probability for sell, but I told you that we may see coming back to fill the gap left at 98 level before the continuation for uptrend. That was March. So I have mentioned this like March while I had a setup, but I said there's a possibility, there's a probability that we see that happen, and there is a reason why I said so. I think I gave the analysis. I was initially expecting that price was going to fall into it at that time, but price didn't, and I think, excuse me, I think price rather than that, the displacement of price was to the upside at the time. And I guess I mentioned something. I said a concrete reason why I must fail would have jumped into the trade, or we leave it and wait for another. So I mentioned that I believe we should see a bullish run from the imbalance, yet we did not. So price before reaching in has taken off, going through the roof, right? Just a test of character. Now, what do I mean by that is that it price did not get to where you want it to get to. What would you do? Let me check if we're still recording. All right, we're still recording. I'll say that what would be your character if price refuses? Let me change this to the color we have earlier on that. I take this and the other one to this now. Price was here, right? And I was expecting that price should actually come into this imbalance before it goes up, but no, it didn't. It gave us a particular high, came back into this imbalance here, came up. But if you check with me, if you check with me today, that let's go back to our channel to see. So we had that. I think there were a couple of other follow-ups that I have on that. Yeah, when it got there the first time, I talked about the fact that I'm interested to come in when it gets to that 98 again, right? That 98, right? Dollar here, and you could see, and then my target would be here. Now we could see the price indeed came back into this imbalance the second time, and this was when it got to the 98, right? And we could see that it is already printing again. Why do I say that? Well, I won't be displaying that here, but we could see that price when it get here, price had a strong volatility to the upside, right? And we could see the same thing influencing the price action of GBPUSD going down, and also EURUSD going down as well. You know, there's just a whole lot of things, right? A whole lot of things that, see, you could see the price here had moved downward massively just because we were able to predict that price was going to come to this low, entered into this place, and price will go up. Ultimately, I'm actually expecting that there's a possibility that price reacts here when it comes into this gap. The price react here. So let me just give you let me give you, so we have it here. Let's come back here, go then to this side. So this will be my expectation on DXY. It comes here, goes down, then it goes to this high. It just the way I think about it, right? It's just primarily the way I think about price. It doesn't have to be difficult, and if you take that to um, Euro USD, which very right, you can actually look at this imbalance here, say price would come to it first. When price sinks into this, then you can't be expecting that price would come like this, goes up like this, and goes down to this. If at all price is going to, you would be expecting that this range that was created, this first leg here before this, has price retrace back into it for about, you know, 76 retracement level. So you may want to be conservative. When price come, you take another sell to this time frame, I mean to this price level. But my ultimate target would be for this liquidity resting here, and ultimately this low here. So you may actually be targeting this. So let me have this here. So short, you have your TP set to this low. Of course, I would have expected that by now someone should have entered into this. How that would be, that I'm not discussing in this place, right? I'm expecting the price should come down to this place, right? And then you'll be having 4.7. So if you have $2,000 risked, right? If you want to be conservative, like I always give, you can have it here, and that will be times almost 3, right? So if it comes there and you trade it down here, then with almost 3, if you are risking $2,000, that will be about 5,000 plus, almost 6,000 that you'll be getting. Am I right? Almost 6,000, yeah. So it just you being able to decide, being able to identify directly. Now someone could say why not exactly. The reason is that there is always a little bit of push below every liquidity, right? Before price return back into that range, right? So I'm expecting that price should come here, goes up, and then you go with that. You see, it's just the same thing over and over again. I mean, this is just too massive. This is massive. Am I on the straight? I don't know. Am I not on the straight? I don't know. I'm just giving you insight on things and how you should actually, take a look on everything. So, till we meet again, I wish you good luck and good trading.